Part 1, Question 5, Article 2, whether goodness is prior in idea to being. This is an odd question because the previous article showed that goodness and being were identical in reality and they differed only in thought. Alright, now then let's be specific. The modern view would say that thoughts are inherently disorganized and subjective, so it would be a silly question to ask. Ideas are merely connections among sensations and connections among other ideas. They are constructed. They are arbitrary. At least they are highly flexible. So it would be silly in the modern view to ask which came first, the idea of being or the idea of goodness. Silly, as in unanswerable. And it is just that kind of question that gets to the heart of deep issues, those questions that the moderns dare not ask. In this case, we're getting to the difference between realism and idealism. Aristotle, of course, comes down as a realist. He tells us that the first of created things is being. Like I said, realism, existence comes first. It's real, even though Dionysius mentions God's goodness first when listing the names of God. It seems like an odd objection Thomas may here be foreshadowing question 13 on the names of God. Other objections, it seems that more things are good than exist. Goodness is just good things is just a broader category. For example, world peace. It's desirable, but it does not exist in reality, never has. At least not since the Garden of Eden. In fact, the good always exists first as an idea before it can be realized. Another example, Judas Iscariot, of whom our Lord said, "It would have been better for him if he had never been born." But Judas's, quote, not being born does not exist. So again, there's something good, Judas not being born, that doesn't exist. Goodness seems like a bigger, broader, primary, first category. Objection 4. Being is desirable. We want to live, we want to exist and be. Being is desirable because it is good. But other things are also good, like wisdom and success. You might exist, but you might not have wisdom and success, not yet. Again, goodness is the larger, seems like the larger prior category than the idea of being. Thomas disagrees. He goes back to definitions. Things are knowable. That's the key point. Things are. They are. They have to exist first in order to be knowable as things. Quote, being is that which is primarily knowable, as sound is that which is primarily audible. What do you hear? You hear sounds. What do you know? You know things that are. To moderns, especially since John Locke, being is not knowable. Only our internal ideas are knowable. Or you could blame that on Kant if you want. Reply to objection 1, quote, good as a cause is prior to being as an end to a form. Good is the cause of causes. It is therefore appropriate for Dionysius to call God's goodness or list God's goodness first when speaking of his names, the names by which God calls us. God calls us to his goodness by revealing his names to us. Other replies, world peace may not exist actually, but it does exist potentially. World peace does exist already as an idea, and it can be judged as an idea to be a desirable thing, and a desirable idea and a desirable thing. Judas's non-being was not desirable in itself, but only relatively, quote, inasmuch as one seeks some mode of being of which one cannot bear to be deprived. Other replies, wisdom and success are desirable, but they are desirable only as actual. You don't hope for potential wisdom or potential success. You hope to have actual wisdom, actual success. It is the attainability of wisdom and success that motivates us to action, which has practical applications when goals such as world peace, when they seem unattainable, it is common for us to stop pursuing them. But when you see something working for your neighbor, you think to yourself, hey, why can't that work for me? Because it exists. And being exists prior to goodness as an idea.